good? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. I'm Leah. So today I am giving you guys my podcast recommendations. I literally love podcasts. I spend like a lot of my days listening to podcasts, I can't lie. And honestly, throughout all of these lockdowns, it's always been podcasts that have been keeping me entertained. I don't know what it is about podcasts, and I don't know why I love them so much. I don't know if it's because it's just like people having conversations and it's like you feel like you're involved, so you feel like these people are your friends, but literally I love podcasts. So I'm going to be giving you guys some recommendations, talking about the different podcasts that I love. There's kind of like a range of topics. Some are like more self-development, some are just bants, so yeah. So the first podcast that you need to listen to is the bossbay podcast by Danielle Canty and Natalie Ellis. So I literally love this podcast. They talk about all things from entrepreneurship to wellness, and they give like really good social media tips as well for if you want to grow a social media following for your brand. But honestly, their podcast is so useful and so inspiring as well. They also bring other entrepreneurs in and interview them, and they give like the real tea on entrepreneurship. I feel like nobody holds back, and they really talk about like the struggles they've been through and the high points and things like that. So it's like super relatable. I feel like it's one that I go to when I'm like feeling a bit down and I'm like, I need to pick me up. I need to know that I'm going to be okay in life. And I just listen to that podcast and I'm like, okay, things are good. Other people go through hard times as well. So yeah. They also have a really cute Instagram page which has loads of different like motivational quotes and things like that on there. So yeah, they're just giving all of the inspiration really. Okay, so my next podcast recommendation is Manifestation Babe by Catherine Zenkina. So if you're into all things manifestation, law of attraction, spirituality, then this podcast is definitely for you. But I would say that the podcast is definitely a good mixture of manifestation and personal development as well. So it's not all like manifestation and just thinking about being rich and becoming rich. Like there is actual personal development behind it as well. She did a really good series which I really enjoyed on her podcast, which was all about money beliefs, and it was just about the different beliefs that people have in their subconscious about money, which is then blocking them from manifesting more money. And yeah, I just really liked it, really enjoyed it, and I think it will be useful for a lot of people. But yeah, I'd say the podcast is really good at helping you like check your own limiting beliefs and things that are really holding you back in life, so that's kind of why I find it useful. She also interviews like a wide variety of people. So she does interviews with different entrepreneurs, but then she also does interview people that are like really into spirituality. So I feel like depending on what like kind of level of spirituality and manifestation you're on, there's kind of something for you, if that makes sense. So yeah. One of my favorite episodes is episode 205 with Shelly Bell from Black Girl Ventures, and I just found that episode so inspiring to hear Shelly's story and how she started her business, and I just literally loved it, and yeah. Okay, so my next podcast recommendation is The Self-Love Fix by Beatrice, because don't we all just need a bit of self-love in our lives? I literally love this podcast. This podcast is definitely really good if you want to go on a bit of a self-love journey and you need a bit of help. Like there's so many episodes that have really helped me out, and I'm like, like I feel like the episodes really make me check myself, and I'm like, why do I do this? Why do I do that? Do you know what I mean? But I feel like that's what a self-love journey is all about. So yeah, the podcast is really about self-love and inner child healing. I'm sure many of us have been through things maybe in our like childhood or in our teenage years that we haven't healed from, and I feel like this is a really good place to start. And I feel like listening to this podcast will really kind of help you start to like navigate that and how to heal from it. I feel like Beatrice is like a self-love angel, helping you realize what you deserve and helping you to know your worth, and I love it. But yeah, there's so many like really important topics in her podcast, and I love when she opens up about like her own experiences and things like that, and I'm kind of like, girl, I really relate to you. This is really helping me out, so thank you. But yeah, it's a really good podcast. As well, in the podcast, in the like later episodes, it does start to get more spiritual, which I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all. Okay, my next podcast recommendation is Caught Off Guard with Patricia Bright. Okay, so this podcast is basically interviews from different successful people from various industries, and I feel like you really get to know what it's like to be in that industry. And one thing I really like is hearing people's backstory. Like I want to know what it was like at the very start of your journey. Like, it's all good hearing about how well things are now, but I want to hear the whole journey, how it started and everything like that, because to me that's what I find really inspiring, like seeing where someone started and then seeing where they are now. So yeah, I literally love that, and I feel like you really get like the full tea on the come up. So one of my favorite episodes from season 1 of the podcast is the one with Leah Anderson, because it just gave like a proper full insight into like the modeling world, especially when you're like just starting out, and like what it's really like. And I'm like, wow, I never would have thought it was kind of like that. And then my favorite episodes from season 2 are with Connor Walker and Grace Beverly. I literally love those two girls and I love what they're doing. So yeah, it's just nice to get more insight into how things started for them and everything. So yeah, I always feel super inspired when I listen to it, and I'm like, yeah, this podcast makes me want to like get up and do something. So yeah, the episodes really go into finance, business, and just everything around it really. I feel like it's one that you definitely need to listen to. So my next podcast recommendation is one that you definitely have to listen to, and it is To My Sisters with Courtney and Renee. So I really love this podcast. I just really love their vibes, and they are just having insightful, thought-provoking conversations which I can just fully relate to. So I really love 2 of their recent conversations. One was about influencer culture and the other one was about manifestation, and the episode was called Manifestation, oh but what about hard work? And even though I'm really into manifestation, like I was agreeing with so much of what they were saying, and I was like, yes, preach. Like it was literally just a good conversation. Like you really need to check it out. But yeah, I feel like they're having conversations about things that I think about a lot, so it's nice to hear their perspective on it. So yeah, you need to check it out. They also have a YouTube channel as well if you prefer to watch it. I have started watching the episodes and yeah, I love it. Okay, so my next favorite podcast is The Girls Bathroom with Sophia and Cinzia. So I'm currently binging all of the episodes. I used to always see this podcast and literally I'd be like, oh no, I don't know like if it's a bit of me. I listened to one episode and I was literally addicted. Like I haven't stopped listening to it. So on the podcast they do like boy and girl talk dilemmas, and I literally love hearing people's dilemmas and like what they're going through. I don't know why, I just literally love hearing people's dilemmas. And then they obviously give their advice and things like that, but I literally find it so funny, and they give such good advice. Like I feel like I wish I had this podcast when I was younger and I was making stupid decisions with guys. So yeah, definitely listen to The Girls Bathroom. It has been keeping me fully entertained. Yeah. Okay, so my next podcast recommendation is The Receipts. So I discovered this one like last year, so it was another one that I was like binge listening to. I would actually listen to it from morning to night. I was just like, I need to catch up, I need to be in the loop. They are just honestly absolutely hilarious. Like the amount of times I've actually been laughing out loud listening to this podcast, it's just one that you need to listen to. I feel like they're just having honest, hilarious, unfiltered conversations about a wide variety of topics, and I'm just all the way here for it. They also do every fortnight an episode which is dilemmas, which I think is actually my favourite, because I mean, for one, some of the dilemmas are crazy, but then 2, the advice that they give with it is just so funny. But honestly, it's advice that people need to be hearing. Like sometimes I listen to the dilemma and I'm like, are you alright? Like what the hell? But honestly, it is just so funny. So if you need to pick me up and you need like a bit of a laugh, put The Receipts on. But yeah, 100% I needed to be listening to The Receipts when I was younger, because I needed like big sis advice, and I feel like they would have helped me out in some crazy situations. So my next podcast recommendation is Black Girls Living. So Black Girls Living, they discuss mental health and pop culture. So it's really a mixture of topical, trendy conversations, but then there is also like a more serious side to it, and they talk about mental health as well, which I literally love. And they're really open and honest when they're discussing their own mental health and their own struggles that they've been through. I feel like it's something that I find really relatable, and I really love it, and I love to hear people having these conversations in the open and just saying, guys, this is what I've been through, and I feel like it really helps other people out. And it was actually listening to their podcast which made me want to go and get therapy, and I've been in therapy now since like November, and it's been good so far. So yeah, if it wasn't for listening to their podcast, it's probably something I would have like put off for a few more years or something like that. So yeah. But yeah, the conversations that they're having are super, super relatable. It's really funny as well. I used to love when Love Island was on. They'd give like their commentary on Love Island and things that were going on. They interview people as well on their podcast, and yeah, they're always super inspiring people. So yeah, make sure you check it out. Okay, so my final podcast recommendation is Laid Bare, and this is really for the sex positive. It's just really open and honest conversations about sex and relationships. I feel like with this podcast, especially when it comes to sex, nothing's like off limits, and I just love to hear it. I love to hear people just being open and honest with subjects that are usually taboo. The podcast is literally just so unfiltered, and they just don't hold back at all, which I'm all the way here for. But yeah, it's just a really open and educational space. I feel like everyone should listen to it, to be honest. Okay guys, so that was it for my podcast recommendations. Let me know any podcasts that you listen to that I should be listening to, because I literally love podcasts. So any new ones, that would be great. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give this video a big thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Bye.